Today I'm looking for a spot to put one of my trail cameras here in some low desert in southern Arizona. I'm in the bottom of a wash right now, and on both sides of it the terrain looks like what you see on the screen right now. Thick stuff, a lot of plants and weeds and cacti, mesquite trees, palo verde, things like that. I'm going to walk this wash a little bit and look for a good spot. Normally in my videos I just show you how the trail camera was set up and then show you the best clips I got, but for this video I'm going to try to show you a little more of the process in finding a good spot. So if it doesn't work out the first time, I'm going to show you why, and then I'm going to move the camera to try to change some of the setup, the angle, what have you, and get better video. You can see something was digging, messing around underneath this tree. I'm gonna guess that this was a Javelina bed. It might have looked more pronounced before the rains, but it's been washed away. But Javelina will kind of dig and make little beds underneath trees like this. It's something to look for if you're trying to get Javelina on camera. Alright, after a lot of back and forth on where I want to put this camera, I've decided to put it on this tree here. I'm probably going to mount it 2 or 3 feet high. I might angle it down a little bit because this tree is kind of growing into the wash. So it looks kind of like this, down at the trail. If I mounted it to the tree, just as the tree leans, it would be straight at the ground. So I'll have to put a rock behind it or something to keep it up. But I've got some coyote tracks and some Javelina tracks that way, and then some deer tracks down that way, and then of course that bed I showed you earlier, Javelina bed. There were a few other places I wanted to put my camera, but they all face directly east, which is bad for lighting, for obvious reasons. And the other place I was considering, the tree was really skinny. That's something to look at when you're placing trail cameras is the tree going to move every time the wind blows? This one is not, and the other one, it was really easy to move. So if the wind's blowing and the tree that your camera is strapped to is moving, it's going to trigger your camera and you're going to get a whole lot of nothing. So I'm going to push some of these branches out of the way and aim my camera at the wash, and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, you can see I finally got that camera set up on my foot and knee prints there. I decided to put the camera a little lower than I explained earlier in the video. If I had put it up here, I would have had to have something pretty large to keep the camera facing the way I want it to. And the way I have it down here, it just took a small rock to get the camera pointed in the right direction. I used the strap that the camera came with, and then a cable lock that I bought separately just so no one can steal it without destroying the camera or chopping down this tree. So it's going to aim this way. That's my walking stick you see, just ignore that. It's a little low for deer, but if they're further out or they drop their head at all, we'll be able to get their full body. And I went ahead and scraped some dirt around here. Animals will investigate that just because they're curious. They want to know what's around, what's marking. So I'll let you know what we get. So you can see this camera isn't set up the way I left it last time. I went ahead and watched the videos I got. I think everything was set up pretty well, except that it was too close to the Javelina bed. A Javelina rubbed on it and kind of moved it and knocked the rock out from behind it. So it was facing down most of the time I had it set up. It only lasted a day or so before the Javelina moved it. I still think it's a good spot, but I'm going to go ahead and move this camera and find somewhere in the same wash where it's not going to get knocked over by a Javelina. I wanted to show you guys something real quick. Last time I was here, I thought about setting a camera up on this tree. It has a good view of the wash, but there are two problems. It faces directly east, so the shots in the morning will be washed out with the sun directly into the camera, and then this tree's just a little small to have a camera on. You can see when I hit it, it moves, so every time there's a good gust of wind, that whole tree will move and set the camera off. That's why I didn't use this spot. I'm looking for a new place to put this camera, and I saw this disturbance here. Tracks are kind of faint, but if you look where they're leading, it goes into this brush, and back there is the Javelina bed. I'm not going to put the camera there because it wouldn't get anything else except the Javelina, and they'd probably mess with it again, but just wanted to show you that. I finally picked out a spot for attempt number 2. I'm in the same wash I was in for the first part of the video, just about a quarter mile away. I've got the camera set up about 2.5 feet off the ground on this dead tree, looking across the wash. And it's pointed at this big, really cool looking old mesquite tree. So we'll see what we get here. Thanks for watching. So I was going to make it the end of the video when I was explaining the camera there, but as I was walking out past the water I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, I found some tracks. These are Javelina tracks. You can see they're real short, maybe an inch long, compared to deer, which would be a little bit longer. And then coyote. And I saw some deer tracks up here as well. Let's see if I can find them. More Javelina. So, anywho, that's what coyote and Javelina tracks look like. And here are some deer tracks. So, just around this water, I've got deer, Javelina, and coyote tracks. Hopefully get a bobcat and maybe even a mountain lion on that camera if we're lucky.